Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. I think this is episode 188, and today we are joined by lovely Grady, who many of you know as our customer success representative. Thank you for being here and stepping in, pinch hitting.
Absolutely.
Maggie is out with a really bad cold, like a cold I've never seen or heard before. I have a cold too, but she's putting me to shame. So
Yes.
poor Maggie, we hope you get better soon. She worked yesterday, she's in here today, but she, for some reason, doesn't think she's camera ready. And we got to give her that little bit of space there. So that's good. But we have a full episode. We have segments from Kelsey and Emma, and also Kim will be showing some yoga, some wrist exercises this time, which will be good. So yeah, we have a full show, lots of lovely things to show you. So let's get started. We usually start by announcing a winner. Okay. Would you like to announce this winner?
Absolutely. So our first winner, who will be getting a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle, is Geeta Goswami. And she writes, welcome this added attraction in your podcast, presenting dinners with Woolly Thistle yarn. Love to see Joe and Jamie's beautiful knits. Caitlin's knits are always exquisite and motivating. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you win a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle. How did she get it?
To claim that, you can just send us an email, info@thewoollythistle.com, with the title prize winner. So we can pick you out of the emails, and we'll get that right out to you.
Yeah, if you do it all in caps, you'll jump out even more, which is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you want to be in the running for next time, just give us a thumbs up on YouTube here. Leave us a comment, because we pick the winner from all the comments, and subscribe to our channel. Yeah. And we'll announce another winner later, so stay tuned. You might be the winner. So let's talk about what we're wearing today. Okay. Why don't you start?
All right. So I have my green vanilla sweater.
Oh, yes, you do.
Which still
modified.
Is ankle, or not ankle, elbow length. My son gets ankle and elbow mixed up all the time, so I guess I'm taking that on too. So the plan was to make it full length for the winter, but I haven't gotten there yet with other projects that have been going on.
Yeah.
So I have this. This is actually knit in the Dehesa de Barrera by
Wool
Wool
Dreamers.
So also a fingering weight, very nice, soft, Spanish merino.
Yeah. So if you sit here, you get a lot of padding.
Yes.
It's really nice. Yeah.
And then this here is, the pattern is called The Simple Thing by Melina Braille, I think. But we'll link it in the show notes. And this is a kind of long triangular cowl, or shawl. Actually.
Yeah, it's not
so
joined.
It's knit side to side. And this side over here is making tracks.
Yes.
And then this is all Centrum 3-ply worsted.
Oh. So they actually look very similar. Did you change needles or anything? Because they're different gauges, I guess. But...
Yes, I did not. I've worked with Centrum worsted a couple times now, and I feel like it's kind of on the lighter end of worsted.
It looks a little lighter than this.
And then the making tracks is on the heavier end of DK. So I think they actually work really quite well together.
Very pretty.
And I have an FO to show as well that has some more making tracks in it.
So we should put the title of this pattern, because it looks like a really easy knit. It's all garter stitch.
Yes, and it's very addictive because you start out going really fast. You only start out with a few stitches. Yeah. It's just side to side, so it's just back and forth. Yeah. And increases every so often.
And it doesn't get that wide that it's taking you forever.
And it's actually designed for DK weight. So the designer's finished size is a little smaller.
Did you need to use 2 skeins, or would this be done on a skein?
So she actually designed it with the intent of using a single skein of DK. So what you would do is weigh the skein and then knit half and then start decreasing. Okay. So it is intended to be a single skein. Yeah. I had wanted something that was a little bigger. Yeah. So I just kept going. Yeah. And then I came into the shop after I had gotten almost through the first half. This is the first half I knit. Yeah. And I saw the honeycomb for making tracks, and I said, I have to get that. So that was not at all planned, but it came out really pretty. Yeah,
super. Awesome. I love it.
This off because I'm getting warm now.
Okay.
With multiple knits on. So yes, that's what I'm wearing. And
that's
what are
great.
You wearing?
Well, I'm not wearing a hand knit. I'm wearing a knit that I bought in Shetland.
Ah,
when I was there with my kids. I went to visit Jamieson and Smith's shop, and this was on a rack, and I bought it. And it's actually knitted with Heritage. So this is the Madar Heritage color. And I think what they do is they hand knit the yoke and then they machine knit the rest and put it all together.
Yeah.
But I had so many emotions walking out with a pre-knitted bought sweater. I really did. I was like, hooray! It's like instant gratification. And then it was like, oh, I didn't knit this, so I shouldn't be wearing it. But I actually do really enjoy wearing this. It's very traditional. It's got that smaller yoke, you know, it's very traditional Shetland, and I think it's a good color, yeah. So I enjoy wearing it, and you know, I see how they put it together, and I think, I would have done that, you know, in the round, or, you know, but just being a hand knitter, it makes me appreciate just what we do, because when you start inserting machines, you have to do things more flat and have seams and all of that. Absolutely. So, but I do love this. This is very, very, very much a favorite thing. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm not wearing anything. I forgot my hat. And I almost forgot to show you my finished hat, which is what I've been working on since we last saw each other. And you can see it's not blocked, so it's not like just so yet, but it's this pretty little flower design, and in several colors. I think we'll make kits of this. So this is knitted in Jamieson Smith in 5 colors. There's a base color, and then the motifs change. And this is something that, oops, missed an end. This is something that will be ready, I think, for the color work accessory cal, if people want to knit this. Right. It fits great. It feels really comfy. Covers your ears just enough. My glasses are too long. They keep getting pushed forward down my nose. Take them off. So yeah, now I can't see anything. Is that okay, Grady?
Yes, that looks good.
Okay, so yeah, so this, I haven't named it yet. I need to think of a name to it sweet, and we'll get this up in the shop soon. It will not be tech edited or test knitted. We don't have enough time for that, and it's just a hat. So I'm pretty confident that it should all work out. It was a quick knit. It was a quick knit once I decided that this is what it was. I was all over the place with different stitch counts and different ways to decrease, and I wanted to keep the flowers, so I didn't want to do a wedge decrease too soon. And so I got to mess around with a lot of math to make it work. And it does, I think. So
it's beautiful.
Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah, it'll be much nicer once it's blocked. We'll get it blocked. Just finished it last night. Oh, all right. So what's next? Let's see. So are you knitting on anything, or do you have any FOs to show?
I do. I have a couple. So the first FO is a hat that I knit. Ooh. Which is a pattern from Jody Brown from the Grocery Girls.
Great.
It's the Mount Jasper hat, I believe. Again, I'll link it in the show notes for you. Fantastic. I have a project page, and the pattern's available on Ravelry. Yeah. So this one is knit in Stricka Garn, is the gray.
From Rama.
Yes, from Rama. And then Making Tracks in the Birdsong colorway is the blue. And then this is the leftover from my shawl.
Love that.
Which is the honeycomb. So
I had a nice pom-pom too, by the way.
And the pom-pom was my first attempt with the pom-pom maker that I bought. I think it's the Clover brand pom-pom maker. Yeah. So I wrapped the yellow and then the blue and then the gray.
Amazing.
And it came out really fun. Yeah. I had no clue what to expect. But that's how I used up pretty much every scrap of Making Tracks for this. And this blue is left over from a hat that I knit for a friend.
Gotta love that.
Yes.
And this is not color work. Is it more slip stitches? How did you, or is it color work?
I don't know if it's technically mosaic or not, but it is slip stitches. Yeah. So it's just knits, purls, and slip stitches. Yeah. But it gives a really cool effect.
Do you know,
it's very 3D.
It reminds me of the TARDIS being that blue color. You know the TARDIS from Doctor Who?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was a really fun knit. And again, the Making Tracks is really versatile. It can go with the Stricka Garn, it can go with the Old Centrum 3-ply worsted. Right. So that's really fun. Yeah. Because it gives you so much more options. Yeah. Especially using up smaller pieces and smaller projects.
And nice and warm.
Absolutely.
Looks so squishy.
Yeah. And I made the largest size because I have a pretty good size head, but I also like larger hats. Like I don't like a really tight hat. So that's the largest size. And it comes, I think, in at least 3 or 4 sizes.
Really?
So for kind of teens up to big adult heads.
Yeah.
So that's my first FO.
Well, that's nice.
And then the other is a pair of mittens that I made, which are in Letlopi.
Oh, lovely.
And these are a little unique. So this is called the Palmistry Worsted by Stephanie Lotvin, I think is her name. And this one has a little bit of a unique construction.
Yeah.
So it's increases here.
Yeah.
To make the palm. I'll put this one on, it'll be easier to see.
So you basically, you start in the round and then you start increasing for the thumb gusset?
Yes. Okay. You do a couple rows. I don't want to give too much away, but you do a couple of rows before you start the increases, but then you just do the increases, and that's how it fits. I like that. And it's really, it feels very kind of anatomical, like it's, don't have a lot of extra material. Right. And it's knit at a pretty tight gauge.
I was going to say, I wouldn't have guessed that was Letlopi.
Yeah, so it's very nice because it keeps my hands dry in the winter.
Yeah, there's no snow getting through that.
Yeah, Letlopi is our go-to. My son has Letlopi mittens that he loves because he can play in the snow and his hands don't get cold.
And they stay nice and toasty, warm and dry, which is so important.
Yep. And then the other that I was going to show is a couple little swatches that I knit.
Oh, good. For
the upcoming cow that we have. So this is Ulcentrum 3-ply worsted.
Wow.
And it is the Jasper pattern. It's a cowl.
Tell us about this.
So this one is mosaic knitting.
This is actual mosaic.
Actual mosaic garter stitch.
Wow.
And knit flat.
Wow.
So it's kind of a triangular shaped cowl, but it will connect at the back.
Yeah.
So this is just one motif. And I was considering knitting in the worsted weight. It's actually designed in fingering weight.
Oh.
But I didn't love this because far away you can see the motif really nice, but when you get close, it kind of disappears. It looks nicer on camera than
it looks great.
But then I also did, and these haven't been blocked yet, so it'll look nicer. This I did in JNS.
Oh, that really stands out,
to see the fingering weight version. Yeah. So that one is really nice.
Yeah.
And these edge stitches are the border. Yeah. So you would do, this is the repeat here. So it's called Jasper.
I have never done mosaic knitting. What is the sort of main thing about it?
So it is essentially you're slipping stitches and knitting and purling.
Yeah.
However, there is some kind of parameters because you have to have, so each color is 2 rows, so you go back and forth. So when you're slipping stitches, you have to have that color underneath in the previous row. So on one of my whips that I can show, I kind of broke that rule a little, and I kind of swapped my stitches to create a more angled look, because I'm very new to mosaic as well. So that's kind of the basis. It's essentially slip stitches, but you have a chart similar to stranded color work.
Okay.
I also have, the patterns I've dealt with so far have been written out as well.
Yeah.
And I've not done a lot of chart reading, but beautiful. Once you have a hand on it, it's quite easy.
And then in the back, it looks like stranded knitting.
Yeah, and it's really, it's pretty on the back too.
Yeah.
So yes, this is kind of reverse stockinette.
Any issues with tension knitting this? You know, your floats and whatnot?
So that's the other thing, is I think a lot of times they try to keep your floats to a minimum.
Right.
So this particular one, I did not have any issues. You can see there's really not a lot of long floats.
No, and so it's got stretch.
So these long runs of color, that's your main color in that row. Right. So that's the trick. And then the smaller ones, that's where the color changing kind of floats are happening. So I think the longest float is only a few stitches.
I see one for 2 stitches.
Yeah, 3 I think was the most.
Yeah. Fascinating.
So, yes.
And such an interesting finished fabric.
Yes.
And that's going to be lovely.
Yes. Yeah. I'm really
excited. Did you decide on what you're doing?
So I'm going to actually, I think I'm going to knit in the Preselli.
Oh, wow.
To try that. And so JNS, I just have some at home. This is the Pink is 101 from my grab bag that I got a while back. And
great use of it.
The FC 56 is this purple that has some green to it. So that was kind of just swatch, just stash.
And Preselli, of course, is
Garthenor.
Garthenor.
Johnny is from Garthenor.
Yes, exactly.
So yes, that's their fingering weight. It's a very soft, I think you have a little more drape to it also, but it's still toothy. It's not like a superwash split kind of feel.
Could you change colors as well throughout? I guess you could.
Yeah. So this particular pattern really does not use a lot of yardage. I should weigh this and see how much, but I had a tiny little ball of FC56 that I just hand wound, and I didn't even use all of it in the swatch. Because you're only doing half of the rows in that color. So you probably could, especially if you had bits of JNS left over. It'd be really fun. This is one repeat. And so you do more of these. So you could do each repeat a different color.
Or change out the background.
Exactly. Or, change out the background or the foreground.
I love it.
I think there's a lot of options.
I think you're very adventurous. I love that.
I do. That's one of the things I've realized. I really enjoy new patterns to learn new techniques that I don't know about. Like when I think I had talked a little about reverse knitting on one of my previous Facebook Lives.
We should definitely get you talking about that in here sometime.
I'll have to do that. And I've been trying to record a video, but I haven't done much of it.
I know how that goes.
Yes, and I do enjoy trying new techniques.
Yeah.
I've been knitting since I was very young, but I haven't really started exploring a lot of knitting until
I think recently. That's fantastic. I would say I'm less of an exploratory knitter. I just very much take comfort in my knitting in the round and off we go. Although I feel like color work now is very second nature. Like I don't have to think about that and keeping my tension right and everything. But I think there's room for both. I mean, you can have periods of time where you're super adventurous and learning brand new things, and then other times you just want to be comforted. I mean, maybe I'm going off in a sort of designy way though, where I'm, trying to figure out math. I spent probably 2 weeks trying to figure this out. Finished it last minute last night. So there you go. But
hats are my comfort knitting.
Is that right?
I do enjoy knitting hats. That's why the Mount Jasper hat that I knit was really fun, because it looks more complicated, but it's very simple. Methodical, easy repeats, so it's just very soothing.
I love that.
It's really the same with this. It looks so much more complicated than it is to knit. Once you get the hang of it. And this particular one mirrors, so you do the top, bottom half. It's knit
and left to right as well, probably.
Yep, exactly.
Do you know, it reminds me of those beautiful parterre gardens in France.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of them are very there's different kind of motifs, but a lot of them kind of remind me even of Middle Eastern designs as well. Or
so like the Alhambra or something too in Moorish Spain from the olden days.
Yes, exactly.
Love it.
So,
it is true though, when you look at it closer up, it sort of starts to all merge together.
Yes.
And you see more at a distance.
Exactly. I think that would make a beautiful blanket to do a worsted weight blanket or throw pillow.
Yes.
Yes. But
because
this
it's
would be
squishy
really nice
too.
Exactly. It's very squishy.
I look forward to that. That'll be so good.
Yes.
Well, I think we should go to Kelsey and see what she's talking about. I think she's showing us her current whips and some tips for choosing colors for color work projects.
Yes.
Which is great because we do have our color work Cal coming up. So Kelsey, take it away and we'll see you on the other side.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. Whew, I'm already struggling with speaking, so that's a good sign. I'm Kelsey. I'm coming in to talk to you a little bit about a few of my projects and a little bit about color work for the upcoming Color Work Cal that we have starting in February. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was one of the more unique yarns that I don't even know if I can call it a yarn. One of the more unique fibers that we carry at the Woolly Thistle, and it is Manchalope by Wool Dreamers. This is a Spanish unspun. See how it's an unspun fiber. There's no twist in this at all. Fiber. It comes off these are called plates or cakes. They're actually called queso in Spanish. It comes off with this sort of double strand. And when you knit it with the double strand, you get about a DK weight. You can knit the single strands to a fingering-ish weight. but it's very forgiving because it's an extremely squishy, fluffy fiber. So the range of gauges you can use it for are really wide. I've actually talked about it in a previous Shopcast, and you can really squish it down and you can really knit it to a tight gauge, but that's not really what's going to make it shine. What you want to do is knit it to a fairly loose gauge, and then it keeps a lot of this fluffiness that it has in the cake. This is a sort of light green color. I'm recording at night or in the evening, so artificial light here, but I think the color is pretty accurate. It's a very sort of minty, dusty green. It's a very, like a touch of green dye on top of what I'd call a light gray, ashy gray base. A lot of their colors, their current colors are like this. There's a lightish pink, there's a lightish blue, and there's this lightish green. They're coming out with some darker colors in the next little while. You may have seen it on social media or in other places, other designers that have been working with it. But this is what they have currently. And then some natural colors. Things are usually called black. They're very, very, very dark browns. Sheep don't really come in a true black. There's a couple of breeds that do, but most sheep don't. I should have said these are Spanish. They are coming from the Manchega sheep, which is, if you're a cheese person, which I am, is the same sheep that gives you the Manchego cheese. So if you've ever had a Manchego cheese, which is a pretty firm, sort of, not as firm as Parmesan, but sort of in that category, sheep's cheese, it's the same sheep. So that's pretty cool. It's taking what usually would be a dairy sheep and using it for wool. There are a lot of sheep breeds that were bred kind of for one or the other, dairy or wool or meat, and there's a few that are really well used for all three. And then you have some breeds that are, their wool is very coarse, but their dairy is very good, and vice versa. So you may notice that these are actually not full size, but they're about the same size because I am actually knitting them held doubled. So if this sort of double strand is a DK, what I'm knitting with is kind of a double. So it's 4 strands, and knitting it to a bulky to chunky weight. It's supposed to be about a 12 stitch gauge, which is large, and I'll show you what it is that I'm working on. It's called the Gaka or Gasa shawl by I think his name is Jean-Philippe Clichet or Jean-Philippe Cliche. Yeah, Jean-Philippe Cliche. And it's this super big, fluffy shawl. He is a knitwear designer based out of Montreal, which frankly, I'm gonna trust someone who's knitting woolen accessories who's based out of Montreal, because Montreal can get cold. So that's always helpful. The pattern is actually written for 2 different gauges. You can knit it just off of one cake, so just 2 strands, or you can knit it off of all 4 held together. And I just couldn't resist how fluffy and chunky that looked. I'm not usually a chunky gauge, chunky weight knitter, so I actually had to buy a needle, which I haven't done in a very long time. But here it is. It's a US 17, which is 12 millimeters. So if you're a sock knitter and you're used to 2 millimeters, it's 6 times bigger than that. I'm knitting with bamboo. I usually knit with wool or with metal needles. Felt like bamboo was the right choice for this wool, but it absolutely could be used with either. And here, it's unblocked clearly because I'm still working on it. But this is what I have. And the texture is crazy. And I am very excited about it. It looks very complicated. It is just twisted stitches. So there's sort of right-leaning twists and left-leaning twists, which was right and left for me. And then purls on the resting rows. So there's no work, well, you have to purl, but there's no lace work or texture work going back, sort of the back side, it looks like that, is all purl. and the front side is where you're doing all this texture stuff. So I'm not even halfway done. It's gonna be so fluffy and chunky. I'm excited. I have had the yarn break, or the fiber break on me a few times, but it's totally not a problem. First of all, when you're knitting with 4 in a row, it's a lot less likely to break than if you're knitting with 1, because it's sort of pulling on all of them. So it's dividing how much tension you're pulling on it by 4 instead of 1 at a time. So I think it's broken a little bit less than it may have if I was only knitting 1 of these strands. So that's been nice. But the other thing is you literally can you can either spit splice it together, or all I've been doing is layering the broken piece on top of itself. So it's sort of 5 strands thick for a few stitches and nothing is moved. There's no problem. It's very sort of woolly and sticky, Velcro-y together. If you've knit with Plocholopi, it is somewhat similar. I would say this is softer. It is not soft, but it is softer. It's absolutely fine. Now that I've covered up my mouth while I'm recording. It's absolutely fine next to my neck. I think that's gonna be that's okay. That's gonna be good. And part of the difference is Plocholopi is Icelandic, so it still has that, the guard hairs, the longer guard hairs that you were used to if you've never knit with Letlopi or Alafas Lopi. The Plocholopi still has those as well. So they're a little bit pokey for some people. Some people it's totally fine, but other people find those a little bit pokey. I have actually heard from a few knitters that it's a little bit less pokey in the Plocholopi, because when you twist yarn, and Letlopi and Alafas Lopi are both sort of thicker single plies, but they are twisted. And when you twist, if you think about it, if you think about anything that you twist, some of those ends, when you twist them, are going to sort of stick out. My fingers are not doing that very well, but if you're letting them all kind of lay flat together, they're a little more flat like this. Where you start twisting them, they start sticking up. So the unspun Plocholopi, some people have told me, is more tolerable next to skin than a Letlopi. So if you've tried one of those others and it doesn't work, give Plocholopi a shot, or give, oh my God, look at this texture, it's ridiculous. Give Mancholopi a shot. See how you like it. You might hate it, but you might love it. So this is my first project with it, and so far I am loving it and trying to figure out what else I want to, when I just knocked my camera, sorry about that, what I'm gonna do with it. The second thing I want to show you is a project that I am knitting based on this book. This is Ann Budd's book, what's full title? The Knitter's Handy Book of Top-Down Sweaters. And what it is it gives you, I'll show you the back actually, different shapes of top-down sweaters: yoked, raglan, set in sleeve, saddle, shoulder, and then it goes for a ton of sizes. I feel like there's like 8 adult sizes plus a handful of child sizes, and the stitch counts and the row counts for all of them. It sets it out as a series of tables for all of the sizes and gauges, so you can use any weight of yarn. You can knit for any size person. It's not fully size inclusive. I think the largest size might be 52 inches. I'll be able to tell you in a second while I'm still talking. 53. So it does, 54. Okay, the largest would be a 54. So it doesn't go up fully to what we would consider to be fully size inclusive, you know, up to 60 inches or higher than that. But it goes every 2 inches up to there. So there's a lot of variation. There's a lot of, you can do anything between 3 and 7 stitches per inch. So that's between 12 and 28 stitches per inch. So that's going to cover a lot of the sweaters and sweater yarns that you're going to knit. I am knitting the saddle shoulder, and just a basic saddle shoulder, in Ralma Fennel Garn, held doubled. And I keep putting the yarn in front of my face, so I'm sorry if that's making me not, you can't hear me as well. I'll try to stop. Ooh, a snowplow just went by. We've been getting some snow today, which has been nice. Ralma Fennel Garn. I have a series of blues and greens that my dad actually asked me to make a sweater for him in. And tomorrow the colors. So here we go. So the saddle shoulder starts up here, and this is on waist yarn on this end here, but you cast on with this end. Here, if you can see it better. You start with this big sort of top of the shoulder panel here. And then you pick up from the sides of this rectangle, and then you're knitting down. You do some short rows here to make a little triangle, and then you're knitting down, and you knit sort of differently for the front and the back to create a bit of a neck hole opening. You'll still I'll pick up stitches and make actual neckband. But I'm just kind of knitting, and when I feel like it, switching one or both of my yarns. So I have a bunch of blues and greens. I've used most of them at least once at this point. This is the back. So I have some limey greens and lighter aquas and darker blues, and I think it's one of those situations where the more colors I add, the better it's going to look. Where if like 3 or 4 or 5 colors, it might have started looking weird, but like it's almost becoming a texture, and the overall effect is kind of bluey green with sort of variations. We'll see how it goes. He hasn't tried it on. I haven't tried it on. It's on too short of a needle to try on, but I have some barber cords, so I'm going to try that. But that is, this is what I'm working on. I'm pretty excited about it. It's really fun because I just kind of change colors whenever I feel like it. And I have a bag over here, and I can just pull out a different green or blue. Here's the brighter greens. There's like a brighter blue. Like I have all sorts of stuff going on. So that's very exciting. I'm very happy with it. And I'm really liking the Rauma held doubles because I'm getting, it's clearly going faster than holding it single, but you're getting a lot of the same feel, and you get the marled effect. Where if I'd held something single, you get stripes, but not a marled effect. So that's where I am. Yeah. So hopefully I'll show that again in a future podcast, and it'll be a bit bigger than this. But this is a lot of the shaping for the sweater itself. It's really knitting straight for now, and then when I go back in, I pick up these, and I'm not giving anything away because this is just how saddle shoulders are constructed. All the stitch counts and things are in the book. But I'll put these live stitches back on and pick up stitches around the hole and start like shaping a sleeve cap and then going from there. So that's my other thing that I'm currently working on. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I know I'm getting a little long-winded already, but is the Colorwork Cal. I'm a big fan of Colorwork, and I get asked all the time about beginner color work, first of all, and choosing colors for color work, second of all. I do have another Shopcast episode and a blog post about color theory for knitting and using a color wheel. I don't have it with me, but that's a great place to start, about choosing a few colors, how do different colors go together and why, how to choose 2 or 3 or 4 colors and how to make those things work. So first thing I'd say about beginning color work is make sure you have only 2 colors per row. That is what traditional Fair Isle does, but there are often Scandinavian or other European colorwork patterns that will end up having at least a few rows that have 3 or even 4. Just the nature of how the motifs are different. Fair Isle motifs are often sort of in little stripes or bigger stripes, but it's very horizontal looking, where some of the Scandinavian like colorwork yokes have a little more of a vertical look, and because of that you end up with like the point of a zigzag stripe, or the center of a Selbu rose or something having 3 colors in it. So just take a look at a chart and see if you ever have more than 2, because that's going to really complicate how you're holding your yarns and how you're tensioning your yarns and how your color dominance is working. So that would be my first tip, is to choose patterns with 2. The second would be to choose a pattern that the inside doesn't matter very much. There aren't a lot of colorwork patterns that are knit flat but they do exist. So things that I would recommend are more like tube cowls where the inside never shows. So even though you're knitting in the round for a colorwork cowl that goes up, you sometimes, depending on the yarn you're using, it can sort of flop down, and I'm not concerned about the floats in the middle, but some people get a little hung up on how your floats look and like how to weave in your ends properly so that they look really nice. You don't need to weave in your ends in a way that looks really nice for them to be effective in holding the yarn. So when you're knitting in a tube, so for example, the tapestry cowl that we have, you're knitting a very long tube and then grafting it together at the end. All of your floats and all of your ends are already in the middle. So you're never going to see them. You're never going to have to deal with them. You can sort of weave them in a little bit, but it's really not going to matter very much, especially if you're using one of our yarns like Rama Finnelgarn, like Jamieson and Smith, or most of our yarns, frankly, have enough tooth to them and enough grab to them that they won't be pulling out at all. So that would, and then hats are another thing. Yes, you can see when you take the hat off, but when it's being worn, you're never seeing the inside of the hat. So that makes it a lot less stressful that you're only caring about the right side and not about the wrong side. The tip that I wanted to share about choosing colors for color work is applicable when, especially in Fair Isle and some Scandinavian patterns, you end up having to choose 4, 5, 6, 7 different colors. And I think there's a lot of people who have confidence in choosing 2 or 3 colors, but once you get to those higher numbers of colors, it can stress people out, and understandably so. So what I would do is, if you're looking at a pattern and it's got 4 or 5 colors or more, really try to figure out what those colors are in principle. And what I mean by that is, are they very light? Are they very dark? Are they warm? Are they cool? Are they in a certain color family? So one that comes to mind is often Gudrun Johnston writes a great yoked colorwork patterns that have several colors in them. Quite a few of them have pairs of colors, so like a light orange and a dark orange, and then a light blue and a dark blue. So when you're picking your colors, you think you're picking 4, but it will actually work really well if you pick a light and a dark of 2 colors. So you're not picking 4 different colors, you're picking, maybe you're subbing light green and dark green and light purple and dark purple for the oranges and the blues. And subbing them in for the lights and the darks in the pattern. Because when you're going through complicated color work, it's often used in different places. And so if you're swapping light for light and dark for dark, you'll end up where the contrast will always work well. That's also true in some Fair Isle patterns where there's a grade, especially towards like the middle of a star motif or some of the corrugated ribbing, there's a gradient. If it's, very light gray, medium gray, dark gray, and black, sub that with, very light yellow, medium yellow, dark yellow, I'm forgetting how many I said, but, subbing lights for lights and darks for darks and trying to put those gradients together can really help, instead of thinking, oh my God, I have to pick 7 colors, or, I have to pick 5 colors. You may actually only be picking 2 or 3 colors, which is a lot more manageable, and then just picking different tones, the sort of lightness or darkness, tones and shades of those tones and shades, tints and shades. I'm forgetting the color work names, but the lighter and darker versions of the same core color. So that can really streamline things for you. As always, if you have any questions about colors, about yarns, about projects, about patterns, about whatever, send an email to info@thewoollythistle.com. If it is yarn, pattern, color, otherwise related, it will likely end up with me, and I will do my best to help you out. So happy knitting, happy planning for the Colorwork Cowl. Hopefully something I've said has been helpful and not just a little bit all over the place. I'm excited about the yarns that I'm working with. I'm excited about these 2 projects, which is not necessarily always true, but I think it's coming across as a little bit like jittery. So enjoy knitting, and talk to you next time. Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I think Kelsey did a great job, and she does have other videos where she's talked about colorwork choices as well, so you can find those on the website. Just go to thewoollythistle.com, and in the menu I think there's a button called Connect, and if you go down there you'll see previous shopcasts, and you can find her segments in there. So yeah, so we're getting ready for the colorwork, Cal. You're actually personally getting ready, and the shop is getting ready so that we can all knit together. You know, our colorwork accessory Cal is the longest running Cal that I've had. I started it as the mitten Cal. Those original OG people will remember, and it was New Hampshire Knits podcast. And so that's years ago, maybe, oh my gosh, 6 or 7 years ago now that we did the first one, and we did them every year. Loved it. And now we've expanded it to include other accessories, because, you know, not everybody wants to be a mitten knitter. And so please do come and knit with us. It's free, and all you need to do is sign up on the website. I think when you go to thewoollythistle.com, and remember there's 2 L's in woolly. I don't say that enough these days. I used to say it all the time. But if you go there, there'll be a Cal button at the top, and you can click on that and scroll down, get all your information, and then put in your name and email, and then you are signed up and ready to start. And we start on the 17th of February, so plenty of time yet to get your ducks in a row.
Yes.
And if you need help picking colors, or you need any assistance at all, Grady is our customer success rep, and so she will help you, right?
Yes.
Do you do a lot of that day to day?
I do. Yep, I do help some with color. Kelsey is also a great resource.
Yes.
So she works remotely, so sometimes she'll help, and then if they want to see colors together, she'll let me know, and I
can you can run around and put them together.
Put together.
Yep. Yeah. So email us at info@thewoollythistle if you have any questions, or if you see a kit that you want to try in a different color set, we can put that together for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, let's see what's new in the shop now, Grady. I think we have lots of kits, and Jamieson & Smith order just arrived, so by the time you're seeing this, all those kits should be populated, because a lot of them are out of stock because we're missing a certain color in Jamieson & Smith in many kits, and you know, that same color goes through everything. So that's all in now, and hopefully you will be able to get the kit you're looking for. So lots of Jamieson & Smith, which is fantastic. Also, we haven't talked about what our ladies are wearing. Oh, no. This is the Silver Forest sweater knitted. I knitted mine in Jamieson & Smith Supreme. It's a Jennifer Steingast Decide. She knitted it in something else, which I just don't remember right now. I knitted mine in Jamieson & Smith Supreme, and we do have kits for this in the shop. And up here we have Marie Wallen's Burra Cowl, and very excited that Spindrift will be coming back. Not in time probably for the cowl, but shortly thereafter. We're working on getting Burra Cowl kits put together, and some hats and a few other accessories. So that will be coming, and if you like it, we will continue and get more. Very excited to have this back. And then, oh, this is Jamieson & Smith. This is last year's hat. This one is blocked. This is my Balvenie bonnet, which I really like. So, and then behind you, oh, we've got more Jamieson & Smith. We're definitely letting Jamieson & Smith fly. I forget what that's called now.
This is the Booness.
Booness Tam, that's right. That's by MJ Mucklestone.
Yes.
And you can now get that pattern on Ravelry. It used to be in a Lina book, but now it's an independent.
Yep, it was in her Fair Isle weekend, which they had.
Does it use the same pink as you used in your swatch?
I think it's actually a little bit darker.
Okay.
Mine is a very light pink.
Okay.
This one's a little warped.
This hat is so pink, but I loved it the minute I saw it. We've got Gudrun's Hap shawl behind there, all in Jamieson & Smith. That's the Hansel Hap. Yeah. Which I've still got another one I need to finish. But anyway, so that's all the Jamieson & Smith that we've got to show you, but there will be lots of kits. So be sure, if they're not in stock yet when you go today, sign up for the back in stock, because what that does, it gets you an email saying this has been populated now and you can get it, and I would rush over and do that. We recently had a stock up of the most beautiful Uredale yarn. We got all fingering weight, and this is a 2-ply fingering weight. It's really squishy. It's pure Shetland. It's native Shetland. organically managed and processed. And these colors are actually what's in this year's Shetland Wool Week hat.
The Bonnie Isle.
And we'll put a picture of it there because it's so lovely together. So we have kits for this.
Yes. And
we have various, all the colors, I think, available individually as well.
Some might have already sold out because we had some limited availability for certain colors.
Yeah.
But we do still have some in the shop.
Be sure to go have a look. This yarn is so special, and you might have heard us say we buy this in really large cones from Ronnie, and then there was a great video, a great reel of Ruth winding her down into these little cakes. So these are 25 grams. And I did see somewhere a question asking, why are you winding them down into 25 grams? Well, because nobody wants a 500 gram cone when you can have lots of little bits of color, because this is a great yarn for color work. So this is great for the upcoming color work cal as well. And oftentimes, and it's an accessory cal too, and oftentimes you only need a little bit goes very, very far.
Yes.
Yeah, so 25 grams is perfect. That's also what Jamieson and Smith and Jamieson Spindrift comes in as well. I wanted to show you this. We'll have to put the name and the designer on there. I don't remember off the top of my head. And this was, I knitted this in your Uradale, but this is their DK weight. But just to show you, the fabric is really, really lovely and bouncy.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we don't have it, I don't know if we have any DK weight now in the shop, but I wanted to show you just how beautifully this all, you know, when you block it, it all just fills in and gets this lovely definition at the same time. This was a really fun knit. I will definitely put the details up there. So anyway, I want to show you this. And what else do we have? Oh, we have a brand new stock up of yarn that we've been waiting probably a year for, called Oyster and Pearls, which is right here. And it's in this lovely basket. I just want to show you, these are the colors. I think this is all the colors that we have. Very natural. This is a naturally dyed collection of yarns. Oyster and Pearls is, well, all of this is a 2-ply DK weight, and it's a 60/40 Romney Merino blend. And it's a US grown and milled yarn. But it's very special because these look like natural colors right here, but the rest are dyed, I think. This might be a natural actually, this sort of medium light gray goes with that nicely. So yes, we have these 3 natural shades in it. This yarn is made in the US from fiber sourced throughout the US and especially New England. And it's spun at Battenkill Fibers. And this is a special project just for the Woolly Thistle. Okay, so let's start showing you some of the colors. So this color is actually nameless right now. We will tell you what the name is here, but it's hand dyed, it's naturally dyed, sorry. And it is just beautiful with very subtle variegations through it. This is very warm, nice warm nutty brown with sort of hints of red coming through. Yes. And what do you have?
This one here is indigo. So this is
dyed in indigo.
Beautiful blue.
Mm-hmm. Really nice. Mm. And then this one is Ryegrass, which is sort of a greenish beige brown. It goes really well with the nameless one. Really lovely.
And then these two are very similar. This is light rose and dark rose.
Beautiful.
And they have some kind of a little subtle variation in the color on the light rose especially.
Yeah.
That just gives it a little more.
And then if you put this one together with it, yes, this one also is nameless right now. So we'll put the name up here as well. These are they just landed in the shop, so we haven't finished setting them up. But this is a lovely sort of madder red, I would say. Really good. And really nice altogether.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The yarn itself feels really plump and soft.
Yes.
It's got a lovely hand to it. Yeah, don't forget those naturals in there too. Yeah, really lovely. So these are in the shop now. Go check them out. Show them some love. I think You could do color work with these too, for sure. Yeah, so we are in love with those, and we hope you guys are too. And let's see what else we have to talk about. Oh, well, we have a couple of new books.
Yes.
Perspectives, not a new book, but back in the shop after a long time being out. This, of course, is by Julie Rutter and Emily Williams. And Julie, of course, is the dynamite behind Black Isle Yarns. And she has this book where there's lots of different beautiful, there's Julie, that's Julie there. Lots of beautiful designs for her Aachen yarn. So I'm really happy to have this back in the shop, and it's available on its own. You don't have to buy anything else to get it. Previous years we put it together with the yarn itself, but we decided just to give this a general release. So enjoy that. And then we've got A Year in My Shetland Garden, which is by the folks that bring us Shetland Wool Adventure Journal. Okay. Gorgeous photography and so many good recipes, drinks, and going to have really delicious sweets. Scottish people have a hugely sweet tooth. I definitely have that. Look at that. New potatoes, I bet those are. Yes. And crispy cauliflower. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I would like a copy of this. So you were saying we don't have too many of these?
We don't have too many, yeah, but they should be in the shop now.
Yeah, and that's Misa, who is the person behind Shetland Wool Adventure Journals and this new book, and we're very happy to have it in. It's a gorgeous, it's soft, but it's a really sturdy. Yeah, it's gorgeous. So that'll be in the shop when you see this. Yes. Hopefully not sold out.
And we did also have a restock of the Shetland Wool Week Annual,
right,
which is up behind you on the shelf there.
So we have Shetland Wool Week back in the shop as well, which is great as we we're only in January. I was going to say as we are in the run up to Shetland Wool Week, but that's not true. We're nowhere near Shetland Wool Week, so this will get you through until the next time. Yeah. Really fantastic with lots of there's our ad.
A little surprise.
Yes. But lots of good articles and patterns in here. It's a really great thing. And they call it an annual because they do one every year, which is really nice to collect. So yes. What else do we have going on?
We also have pre-orders open for a new book from Lina, Neons and Neutrals.
Right. Picture there.
By
Amy Gilbert.
Yes, thank you.
Who is La Bien-Aimée.
Yes.
So everybody knows La Bien-Aimée.
And she also put together, so curated by her.
Yes, so this is her follow-up book to Worsted, which did amazingly well. Yeah, so this is her next follow-up book, and it's really nice to sort of put these massive pops of colour with really soft neutrals. It's going to be great.
It looks like it's going to be a fun book.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's everything that's brand new in the shop. We are just getting ready for the Colourwork Cal now, and so do come and check out what we've got in the way of kits. Right, now I think it's time to go visit Emma and see what she's talking about. I think she is also talking about choosing colours. She actually has some really neat hacks for figuring out how to do that. So let's go watch Emma, and when we're done with that, come back because we still have to announce the winner, and it might be you. And also then we've got Kim with yoga. So we'll see you in a minute.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be sharing some advice about how to pick colors for a color work accessory or anything else color work that you might be knitting. And I'm going to be sharing one of my whips. And before I do that, I'm going to show you this FO, which is made out of the Wensleydale Sheep Shop Wensleydale Aran weight yarn. So if you got a selection box this past November, you got a sampler of this yarn, which is really exciting. It is super drapey, as you can see, and it's really comfortable. It's not scratchy. It's woolly, but not scratchy. The staple length's really long, so sometimes that makes something scratchy, but not in this case. I'm wearing it with nothing on underneath. This is the Visiting Cardigan by Stella Ackroyd, which you can find in Lina 11, I think, or on Ravelry as an individual pattern. There's also a pullover version of this. And I think it's just like it's really comfortable. It's drapey. It's pleasant to wear. yeah, it's just like a really cozy piece. So if you're looking to try out some Wensleydale Aran for a garment, this is a good choice. You could also use the fingering weight version for a different sweater, not this one, because this is written for worsted weight yarn. But yeah, okay. All right, let's talk about some color picking, because the accessory cowl is coming up, the colorwork accessory cowl. And if you know me at all, you know that I'm a huge fan of knitting colorwork accessories and colorwork everything. So I'm gonna share a few pieces with you that I've knitted over the past few years, and give a little bit of advice about, or explanation of, how I pick the colors, because this is something that is really daunting for a lot of people when they first start Fair Isle knitting, because there's so many colors to choose from. It can be really overwhelming. So the first one I'm going to show you, these are all neck pieces. They're all a variety of different cowls, but all of them are different shapes. The first one is a Mobius twist cowl. There's the Mobius twist. This is a cowl of my own design. I designed it a couple of years ago. It's just knitted in Shetland weight, jumper weight wool in a bunch of different colors. There's a white, a light blue, 2 grays. So there's 4 background colors and then 4 foreground colors. So there's 8 colors. So as you can see, there's kind of a gradient here of the whites, the light blues and the grays. And then there's a bunch of different blues that make up the foreground colors. And there's some stars. There's little Pearies here. There's this motif here, and then there's an oxo motif, which is a very traditional Shetland or Fair Isle pattern. So the way I chose this was actually by sort of cheating. I just chose one color. So I had a variety of different blues and grays, and I chose blues and grays. So I just kind of decided on 4 blues that went together, and I lined them up in color order. And then for the background colors, I chose white and then a very light blue and then 2 grays, and I lined those up in color order, and I just paired them together. So there's just a kind of simple, quick and dirty way of just picking some colors that you know are gonna go together because they're all blue. And it looks like this when I wear it. Oh, it looks good with this nice cardigan, all blues together. So yeah, this is a fun pattern. I did design this. All of these things I'm going to show you are things that I designed myself. You will probably see them in the coming year if you were looking to knit some more accessories on Ravelry, and maybe as kits at the Woolly Thistle, but they're not available yet. So stay tuned. We'll see. At some point they'll be out. But yeah, okay. So the next one, similar idea, all blues, but we've added a bright pop of pink. So this is an all over pattern from the Selbu Patterns book. I think I had a segment about this cowl about this time last year. So the outside is Fair Isle, all stranded color work in the style of Fair Isle, but technically the pattern is from Norway. And then the inside is lined with cashmere. So it's really snugly against your neck. And this is a little bit of a different shape here. This pops over the head and it kind of slouches down because of the cashmere. If this was lined with more Shetland wool, for instance, the Radiant Star cowl, which is on the cover of like one of the Shetland Wool Week annuals, that one's got wool on the inside as well, and it stays up really well in case you live in a place that's really cold. It can stay up while you're outside and like cover your nose and it won't fall down. This one's a little slouchy because of the cashmere on the inside. But this is the same kind of idea. I picked this, the colors in the same way. I basically just decided that I wanted blue, but I wanted to add a pop of pink. So I did. So these are all Jamieson and Smith colors of 2-ply jumper weight. I've got only 3 background colors here. I've got white, light gray, and a medium gray. I think those are 01 or 1A, 27 and 54 or something. Oh no, 1A, 202 or 203, and 27. I think those are the colors. And then the blues are just a variety of different blues that I cannot name, and the pink is a pink that I cannot name. But I would say if you're looking to do something like this, choose like 3 or 4 of one color that you like, and then choose a pop that you think is gonna go with it. And that's what I did. And so the pop goes in the middle of each of these bands. So it goes with the dark ones and it goes with the lighter ones. and it definitely pops, but I really like it. It's, I think it's very bright. It's like kind of brightens up winter a little bit to have something so bright and blue and bright pink. So that's one thing. And the third thing is one background color and a bunch of different pattern colors. And I arranged these ones in a rainbow, which just was simple. I mean, it's sort of a rainbow: pink, red, yellow, green, teal, and then blue. I arranged them in rainbow order just because I thought that would be easy, and it was. And then I just chose a charcoal for the background. So again, these are all Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight. The background is 81. And then the foreground colors are just 6 random colors that I liked together. And I thought it popped. And I think it looks like twinkle lights, which is really fun. So again, this pattern will be out sometime this year. I'm looking forward to publishing it. And this one is a long cowl. So it's kind of like the tapestry cowl, but it's not quite as wide. The same idea, you knit it in the round and then you graft it together. And this is, it goes around twice, so it's extra cozy. Yeah. All right. So yeah, again, one background color, changing foreground colors. That might be a way to kind of get yourself into the color decision-making process. And it then gives you an excuse to get a bunch of single skeins, and then you have them in your stash for the next time. Because when you knit something like, even like this, you wouldn't use the whole skein of each ball. You wouldn't use the whole thing. You'd have like half of each ball left over for your next colorwork project. So you'd be really surprised. Those balls of Shetland jumper weight yarn are teeny tiny, but there's a lot of yardage in there. And it's so lightweight that you can make several different things. This skein of pink, I must have used this in 8 or 9 projects. One ball, never run out. And I have 7 more, so I better continue using that color. So I'm going to show you a quick whip of something that you can get at the Woolly Thistle. This is the Maddie cardigan by Christian Drysdale, and this has been my vanilla knitting lately because I'm on the plain knit section. So this is a cardigan that is steeked, as you can see. It has a beautiful flower pattern on the yoke, and this is knitted in Biche Bouche Le Petit Lamb's wool. So you just need 1 skein of the contrast color for most sizes. And then I've got 5 skeins of this very light blue, which I think I might use all 5 if I make a nice long cardigan. But I've really been enjoying this. The yoke was definitely a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to catch my floats in places where I wasn't catching them in the same place every row, because if you do that, sometimes your floats will show through the other side. So I definitely had to kind of come up with a system for how I was going to avoid that, which you can see on the inside. I love how it looks on the inside. It's like the reverse. It's like looking at a photo negative. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed knitting this yoke, and I'm really loving this yarn. It's woolly, but it's so lightweight, and it kind of reminds me of Shetland wool in that it's like the preparation is similar. It's wool and spun, but it's not necessarily spun from Shetland sheep. It's just lamb's wool, and it is super lightweight. It's even more lightweight than jumper weight Shetland wool, but I'm really looking forward to having kind of a more lightweight piece like this, like kind of like the vanilla sweater, but like with a little twist. Almost. So if you've been looking to try out Biche Bouche Le Petit Lamb's wool, I would definitely not hesitate. It is a really nice yarn. I've really been enjoying knitting with this. So I think that's all from me today. I hope that you enjoyed this segment. And if you want to see more of me, you can find my show Tiny Desk Knitting on YouTube every week. I have a new video there. But otherwise, I will see you next month. Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Don't you love it when you learn these hacks? I thought it was really good that Emma took 4 shades of a color and then 4 shades of another color, and then would just match those through her work. Yep. That's genius. Because choosing colors is one of the hardest things you can do. Yes. Which is why we offer help, of course. But I think those little hacks are really, really clever. So thank you, Emma. It's great to see you here. And let's go ahead and announce our second winner of the day.
All right. So our second winner, again for a $25 gift card, is Mandy Rawlinson.
Congratulations.
And she writes, "It always makes my day to see a new video from the Woolly Thistle. Loved the new hat you are creating, Corrine. And I can't wait to try your new sweater pattern once it's complete.
Yes.
It always makes me warm to see you and Maggie and your beautiful hand knits. Stay warm."
Well, and me and Grady today.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you very much. Congratulations. And what does she have to do to claim her prize?
Just send us an email at info@thewoollythistle with prize winner in all caps in the subject line. Yep. So we can pick you out and get that sent right out to you.
Lovely. And if you want to be in the running for a gift card next time, just leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel, which is growing. I saw that we're just over 15,000 subscribers. Yes. Thank you so much. Anyway, I was going to talk about my hat again. I could go on. I should mention my sweater though, because I completely forgot. So my sweater is still unnamed, but it has been through the tech editing process. There's just a few things for us to tidy up there. And actually, you're running the test knitting for it.
I am, yes. Yeah. So we've gotten a great response so far, and I have emailed everyone who was interested a quick application just to collect some information.
Yep.
So we can get a group of test knitters together in all the different sizes and different skill levels. So thank you everyone who has already sent in.
Thank you.
We are still looking for a few testers in some of the small and largest sizes.
Okay.
So if you are in one of those categories, I think
we need you.
Yes, I think 28 to 30 inch for the 2 fit bust measurement, and then over 52 or 56 inches.
Okay.
Up to 62 is the largest.
Okay, ladies.
So if you are in that,
and that's their actual bust measurement size.
This is based on the actual measurement.
Yes. So if you're anywhere in there and you feel like giving us a hand test knitting, I think it'll make a great difference to the wonderfulness of the pattern for future knitters. So yes, let us know if you are on either end of those sizes and would like to test it for us. It's going to be a fairly quick test knit.
It is, yes. So I just was going to mention, if you are interested, just send us an email, info@thewoollythistle. That will come to me and I can get that application sent out to you so I can get you into our pool of test knitters.
Yeah, and when is it starting?
We are aiming to start at the beginning of February.
Right.
It is going to be a 4-week test knit window.
Yeah.
However, it's an Aran weight sweater, as you probably know, so it does knit up.
Yes, I do know
quickly.
that. As it happens.
And as our viewers know, because they've been coming along.
That's true.
The design process, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, 4 weeks.
4 weeks. I think that's plenty of time. But, you know, if it takes you longer, you know, just keep going, but check in with us. But it is a very simple sweater. There's not a lot of crazy things that are going to hold you up. It really is quite simple. Hopefully you find it written to be simply written. And so 4 weeks should be enough. Big and Aran weight sweater is our hope. So know that going in. So then as soon as it's test knitted, we make any changes we need to make, then we can release it. So we are hoping to release it in March. So it is coming. We're just working our way through what we need to do to make sure you get the product that we are hoping that you will love. And we're writing it up for Let Lopi and
Studio Donegal.
Studio Donegal, which I just love that knitted fabric once it's finished. So yes, I'm hoping lots of you will knit it in Studio Donegal too. So yes.
I have not worked with Studio Donegal.
Oh, you have to.
Feeling your sweater, I know I want to knit one of that now.
And you know, it's a woolly sweater, but it's got it's that thickness, and it's just really sort of I don't know, very comfy. And
exactly.
Cozy. Yes, comforting is definitely. Okay, so I think that's all we've got today. We need to go and finish off and do some wrist exercises with Kim, who is knitting yoga. And thank you for being here. Grady, thanks for stepping in and pinch hitting. You're great. Love doing that. And we will see you in a couple of weeks. So I think all that's left to say is, if you go out,
take your knitting.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to Yoga for Knitters with Kim. That's me. I'm a yoga teacher and a knitter based in Central Alberta, and I do these little yoga segments with the Woolly Thistle to help you overcome some of the problems that may arise as a result of knitting. so that you can be a better knitter. This episode's class is all about your wrists. Oh, those wrists. Repetitive motion. It just makes everything tight, 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 kind of seizes up in there, and it can really hurt. So today's class for the wrists. Enjoy. So we get quite sore in the wrists because things get jammed up, you know, things get smushed up in there, everything's tight, and the space between those bones becomes less, it gets constricted. So I'm going to show you a couple of really easy stretches that are going to help you feel better so that you're not so jammed up. A great way to tell if you are jammed up, it's down dog. So if you come into a down dog and there's pain or tightness or just general discomfort in your wrists, chances are you need to do these stretches. So here's how you do the first one. You're going to bring your right hand out in front of you like so. Pull the fingers back so that there's already a stretch through the lower part of the forearm. And then grab a hold of your thumb and gently pull it back. You don't want pain, burning, nothing like that, nothing sharp, but a little bit of extra stretch is fine. And then pull your hand back and push it forward. Back and forward, just like that. So you're pulling those fingers back, you're urging that thumb back with the other hand, and we're flossing the nerves that run from the hand all the way up the arm. So flossing that space in the wrist. Okay, first finger. Now I've done this one quite a few times this weekend because I was a little bit addicted to that Corrali sweater. Okay, I've got my middle finger now. And I really just, oh, one more row, one more row. I'll quit after one more row. I'm not addicted. I was totally addicted. Ring finger. But, oh man, I felt like I was 100 years old on Sunday morning. You know, everything just hurt. And you know, if it hurts like that and you don't treat it, you're gonna have more problems down the road. Pinky finger. So I did these stretches, I did them again today, and now a down dog, my measuring, my yardstick there, feels fine. Whereas it just hurt like the dickens before. All right, you finished one hand, shake it out. Put both hands down on your thighs and just for a moment, notice the difference. My right arm, my right hand, and my right wrist feel awake, alive. There's sensation there, none of it's pain, just good. My left hand doesn't feel, it just feels kind of numb. And actually there's a tight burny spot right there. So I won't do the left hand now, but you know what to do. I'll show you the next one. Okay, so for the next one, I want you to make two fists and then put the knuckles together like that, okay? Then fold forward, lean forward and place the tops of your hands on the mat like that. Okay, now the knuckles stay glued together and the tops of the hands stay on the mat. And I've got quite a lot of bend here in my elbows. I'm not feeling a whole lot, but as I work towards straightening, then you start to feel it. The tighter you are, the less straight you'll be able to get. And you want to keep the tops of your hands glued to the mat. On Sunday when I did this one, I was probably down here. That was my maximum. But after 2 days of practicing, I'm now getting relatively straight. Just breathe through it. No pain. We never want pain in yoga. Bernie Clark, the father of Yin Yoga, is always saying, no pain, no pain. And he's right. We want sensation. On a scale of 1 to 10, in the sensation-o-meter, we want to be at like a 6, a 7, maybe an 8, but an 8 that fades to a 7, and no higher. Good. So after, you can hold that for as long as you want. You're really just stretching and opening through the fronts of the forearms. Shake it out. Place your hands back on your thighs and notice the difference. One more. This one feels great. Well, it's great, but you don't feel a whole lot. I guess maybe that's what's so great. So you're gonna put your left hand in front of your body like so, and then grab a hold of it with your right hand, and then relax the left hand. So it just kind of hangs limp like that, okay? Your right elbow is gonna move to the right, your left elbow is gonna move to the left. You ready? Your left hand is relaxed, and we're creating traction now in the wrist. Making some space between all of those little wrist bones for things to flow, move, just feel good. And then with this gentleness, let go of that traction, bring the elbows back to center. Little shake, and other side. So your right hand, just grasp your right hand with your left, and then let your right hand relax. Draw the elbows away from each other. Just close your eyes and visualize all that space opening up. Like a bunch of puzzle pieces that were really tightly fitted together. Now they've come apart and you can still see the joins, but if you were to spill iced tea on the table, it would flow all between the joints. That's a terrible analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, we're gonna release that tension, let go. Little shake, hands on the knees. And just notice how good your wrists feel. Your forearms feel great, your wrists feel great. You've undone that tension that builds up with the repetitive movement of knitting, and you're ready to knit some more. Thank you so much for spending the day with me, for taking the time to watch Yoga for Knitters, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It means a lot to have you here. Namaste.